still no sign of 21-year-old Mickey Shunick. She was last seen at around 2 o'clock Saturday morning. That's when she left a friend's house in the St. Streets area. She was on her bike headed home to the area of Ambassador Caffrey and West Congress, but she never made it home.
I don't think you realize what a special person this is, and how many people she has touched, and what you've done. We just want her back. We want her safe. We want our friend.
With a break in the rain Monday night, dozens fanned out across this field along West Congress Street looking for clues.
Scared of snakes.
Among them, Jordan McCollum. What are you hoping comes of all this?
That we find clues that lead us to a very safe Mickey.
And while Jordan does know Mickey, others don't. Came out just to do what they could.
I don't know her, but, you know, I mean, I have a daughter. If it was my daughter, I don't know what I would do.
I'm teaching her that this is the right thing to do. If someone is missing, this is our community, this is our family, and this is what we need to do, go out and look for this girl.
It's all part of a larger effort to find the missing college student. Mickey is an anthropology major at UL who family and friends say loves animals and biking, and without her on her 22nd birthday, it's this which is keeping her family going. An effort of more than 300 volunteers, not to mention countless donations, all aimed at bringing Mickey home.
Seeing the outpouring of the community, these young men and these young women that have come together and just done it all, how could you not stay positive?
All of these volunteers, again, family, friends, and strangers, are staying very positive. As for that search tonight, volunteers tell me that they really didn't find too much, but their spirits are still high. And we should also mention that there is a candlelight vigil planned for Mickey tomorrow night at 7:30 at Parc Sans Souci in downtown Lafayette.
If you made a mistake and you accidentally picked her up or something, and you're just scared, I mean, it's okay, we won't say anything. Just call the tip line and drop her off anywhere, and we'll find her. And just, please, don't hurt her. Please.
This community loves Mickey, and we just want our friend back.
A show of solidarity by candlelight for the family of Mickey Shunick. This as the search for the missing woman prepares to enter its 4th day.
Well, over at Parc Sans Souci tonight, it was a good opportunity for all of those people who've been out on the streets tirelessly over the past few days to see exactly what they're working for. Hundreds packed Lafayette's Parc Sans Souci Tuesday night, a show in numbers of the friends, family, and strangers determined to bring Mickey home and back to her family.
I feel like it's actually been one long day.
For her sister Charlie, brother Zach, dad Tom, and mom Nancy, not knowing where Mickey is has been agonizing. The wait even worse.
No, we're a mess. We try to stay together out in public and then go home and fall apart.
It comes and goes, you know what I mean?
Mickey is someone that everyone who has ever met her loves.
And as dusk settled, friends spoke about why they love Mickey.
There's nothing you can make that can't be made.
Music was played and candles were lit to hopefully show Mickey the way home.
It means like everything. I mean, it's just, we just need her back.
Visibly shaken by the case was this group of young girls who have Mickey as an equestrian instructor.
I mean, she has a good side and then a good side. And she's just perfect, and I just love her so much, and I miss her so much, and I want her home now.
Sentiments echoed by hundreds in light, tears, and song.
Love is all you need.
We need to put the tea separate because a lot of people have been wanting tea.
Margaret Beer can barely keep up with all of the donations flowing in.
Still have things coming in. We really just truly appreciate all the community support. This family really needs it.
It's not just food and water. They receive money, supplies, and basic necessities.
We've had a dumpster delivered here. We have porta potty. We have toilet paper, paper towel, all the things that are necessary to host the hundreds of volunteers who are showing up to participate in the search and outreach effort.
Businesses are chipping in too, and not just with donations. Lamar is running these billboards in several states, and Walgreens posting info on their marquees, all free of charge.
Whether it's from the city, whether it's from a corporation, whether it's the next door neighbors, they're all here.
All of the donations of money, supplies, and food not only keep family, friends, and volunteers going physically, but emotionally as well.
We're very heartened to know that all we have to do is focus on bringing Mickey home, and that everything else is taken care of by the people around us.
The show of support keeps their spirits up.
Hey, what's up?
One donation at a time.
I want to bring in Mickey's family. Her sister Charlie with us and her father Tom are here. It's been 6 days. I know you're exhausted. Just your mental and physical exhaustion, I'm sure, is so much to bear. What's keeping you guys going at this point?
I really think it's obviously the outreach from the community. And then we've been being contacted by people globally and nationally. I feel like every day, at first I thought every day would get worse, but every day's been getting more and more positive. You know, everyone's still really confident and positive and in good spirits, and so really it's everyone else that's helping us, not ourselves.
And finally tonight, a break in the case of missing UL student Mickey Shunick. Surveillance video captured these images of a bicyclist police say could be Mickey, traveling on Versailles Boulevard and then seen again on St. Landry Street. Both times this white pickup truck is captured on video after Mickey traveled those streets.
It's a night that's played over and over in the minds of anyone who knows or is looking for Mickey Shunick.
Something, you know, I keep asking ourselves if there's something that we overlooked, if something that we missed.
Police now paint a much clearer picture of where Mickey went that night. 10:15, Mickey arrives at Artmosphere to see a band and hang out with friends.
After about like an hour or two of being there, she already started making mention of being ready to go home, maybe getting something to eat.
12:44, Mickey and Bretley Wilson leave, riding their bikes back to his house on Ryan Street. They then go to Taco Bell on Congress in his car to grab a bite to eat. Video surveillance confirms this at 1:24 a.m. 1:31, Mickey gets a call from a friend. It's the last time her phone is used. Wilson says around 1:45 a.m., Mickey set out on her bike to go home.
I walked her out, watched her get to the driveway, and then I closed the door and locked it.
That's when the case went cold until now.
Now we're able to show the family that, hey, we know she traveled on Versailles, we know she made it as far as St. Landry Street, and that there was a white pickup truck in the area.
Police say they now have a direction in the case and want to talk to the driver of that pickup truck.
You know, someone was in that immediate area when she passed on the bike, and so it's just trying to identify with those people and getting that information back so that we can hopefully get closer to finding her.
Lafayette police confirming to KATC that they found her bicycle today. It was found beneath the Whiskey Bay I-10 bridge at exit 127, and that is now the scene of an active search as investigators look for even more clues tonight. Maddie Garrett has the latest from there. Maddie.
Here's what we do know. Police say fishermen found Mickey's bike here under the I-10 bridge in the Whiskey Bay area.
The rear tire on that bike was damaged. It was the only damage, visible damage, that we could see to the bike. Basically, the rim was bent with the tire dislodged from the rim itself.
First it was kind of like getting punched in the stomach, but after I really thought about it, and I think it's positive. We found the bike, we didn't find her.
Mickey's sister Charlie stays positive and believes the latest news, and that damage to the bike supports her theory that someone made a mistake and her sister is still out there.
You know, some damage can mean that it was either hit and run or it was absolutely an abduction. Obviously someone definitely took her. So I think that that's giving people an idea of what to look for.
The family and police are still asking the public to keep their eyes peeled for these 3 vehicles photographed in the St. Streets area the same night as Mickey, hoping someone saw something and can finally bring Mickey home and back to her family.
An arrest tonight in connection with the disappearance of 22-year-old Mickey Shunick of Lafayette.
32-year-old Brandon Scott Lavergne in Lafayette Parish Jail tonight, charged with first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping. No bond has been set, but he is to appear in court first thing tomorrow morning.
Tonight, the property where his St. Landry Parish home sits is wrapped in crime tape.
Lavergne was arrested out here at his home in St. Landry Parish. Another key question, what sort of evidence do investigators have to go on? Some very serious charges, first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping. We do not know what kind of evidence that they have to go forward with those charges. And perhaps the most burning question of all, where is Mickey Shunick, still unknown tonight. Perhaps more answers to some of these questions could come tomorrow with a press conference at the Lafayette Police Department at 1 o'clock.
We continue today with our efforts to locate and bring Mickey home.
While police updated media from across the state outside the department Friday, across town at the search headquarters, friends gathered in a back room, watching online in private. They held one another, they cried together, but their resolve was not shaken. That, despite the grim charges brought against Brandon Lavergne.
We had a few tunes that came down and we picked them off the floor and we said we got to continue. We're here for Mickey, we're here for their family. And we told the family we would not close the doors, and we would not close the doors until Mickey came home.
KATC is the only news outlet with this initial police report from the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, detailing an interview they had with the murder suspect the same day Shunick was kidnapped.
It's the day Mickey Shunick was supposed to go to her brother's graduation, the day she was supposed to spend riding horses with friend Bretley Wilson. Instead, it's the day she never came home. We now know that same day, murder suspect Brandon Lavergne checked into Ochsner Hospital on Jefferson Highway around 11 p.m., claiming he had been attacked by a stranger at an unknown gas station. In an incident report, Lavergne told Jefferson Parish deputies he was attacked around 3 p.m., but they say Lavergne could not tell them where the gas station was. No street names, buildings, or landmarks. Lavergne claimed he was in town visiting a friend and would return home when he left the hospital. He also said his wallet and driver's license was stolen. But as the deputy asked more questions, the report says the less information Lavergne would provide. They filed the report and the hospital released him. Fast forward 12 days. Lavergne's truck is found burned in Texas. We now know days later, on June 4th, he bought a new Z71 just like his old one from Don's Wholesale in Lafayette Parish. A month later, police arrest him and charge him with kidnapping and first-degree murder.
Jim Hummel coming to you live from the Lafayette Parish Courthouse. The grand jury had just made its ruling in the Brandon Lavergne case, and a bit of a bombshell out here. Brandon Lavergne was indicted, formally charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The first in the Mickey Shunick case, but we also learned today that he was also indicted for first-degree murder in the death of Lisa Pate, which the grand jury says happened on July 3rd, 1999. Not many details about this second case available, but from earlier reporting on this case, I believe that that is stemming from a missing woman remains which were found in Acadia Parish back in 1999. It was June of 1999 when 35-year-old Lisa Pate of Youngsville went missing. There was no sign of the mother of 3 for 3 months until in September 1999 when a woman's body was found under 3 large boards in a grassy field in northwest Church Point. Dental records identified the body as Lisa Pate.
We're going to continue the investigation. We're going to work with the Lafayette authorities and see if we can come up with some answers.
13 years later, it's unclear what evidence was presented to the grand jury connecting Brandon Lavergne to Pate's death. For now, the only connection is that her body was found in Church Point, where Lavergne grew up. He was 20 years old at the time. Brandon Lavergne went to jail for an unrelated sex crime in February of 2000. He was released from jail in 2008. Now Lavergne is back behind bars, indicted for first-degree murder in the deaths of these 2 women 13 years apart. 2 families anxiously awaiting closure.
She brought the people of this town together during a time of darkness, doubt, and fear. But her light continues to shine on.
Tonight, the body found in Evangeline Parish is that of Mickey Shunick. For not just Mickey's family, but for much of Acadiana, this one step closer to closure.
As Jim Hummel reports, the end of a dark chapter which did bring a community together.
Over the past 82 days, Mickey Shunick has become a household name and a face familiar to everyone in Acadiana.
There's so many neighborhoods around that path.
Thousands joined the cause to bring Mickey home. In the early days, there were searches by land and by water. Among those looking for clues were family, friends, and complete strangers.
I said, look, I'm going to help out. I'm going to see what I could do.
I mean, I have a daughter. If it was my daughter, I don't know what I would do.
I'm teaching her that this is the right thing to do. If someone is missing, this is our community, this is our family.
While Mickey was a rallying point for the community, for many, she was much, much more. She was a friend,
We just want her back.
a daughter,
We try to stay together out in public and then go home and fall apart.
and a sister.
We're pretty close. That's what I've been saying, is she's like my little mini-me.
Alike in so many ways, Mickey's older sister Charlie led the charge and those calls to bring Mickey home.
We don't care about whoever has her, we care about my sister.
Mickey was 21 years old when she went missing, when that last picture was taken on that fateful early morning bike ride home. She would turn 22 just 2 days later. An avid bike rider, Mickey was studying anthropology at UL, and by all accounts, she loved animals. It's a love she brought to others, teaching equestrian to young kids.
I mean, she has a good side and then a good side. And she's just perfect, and I just love her so much, and I miss her so much, and I want her home now.
And now, after 82 days of searching, of waiting, a family and a community given a break from that agony with answers. It's what those closest to Mickey wanted all along.
If she's still alive, no matter what's happened, you know, we can handle that. If not, we'll handle that too.
For the Shunicks, the wounds will never heal, but from day one, they've said it's the community that sustained them through all this. As Charlie Shunick wrote on Facebook Wednesday, just hours before the news broke, all you need is love.
There's nothing you can make that can't be made.
It was one of Mickey's favorite songs, played at that vigil in the first few days. And now, as was the case that night, the collective arms of a community are wrapped around a family that's been through and will continue to go through so much.
All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need.
Mickey is now home.
All you need is love.
Jim Hummel, KTC TV3.
All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need.
This is a special report from KATC TV3.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jim Hummel coming to you live from the Lafayette Parish Courthouse with breaking news in the state's case against Brandon Scott Lavergne. Just moments ago, Brandon Scott Lavergne pled guilty to murder, 2 counts of murder for both Mickey Shunick and Lisa Pate. This the result of a plea deal with the prosecution that we learned of in court. As for the Mickey Shunick case, they say that Brandon Scott Lavergne followed her down St. Landry Street, which we saw that photo, that surveillance photo, that last photo of Mickey Shunick. They say that Brandon Scott Lavergne struck Mickey Shunick while on her bike between Dean and Coliseum Road there. That collision threw Mickey off her bicycle. Mickey then entered the Z71 pickup truck, Brandon Lavergne's truck, that white truck, which Brandon Scott Lavergne had a knife on him and also a semi-automatic handgun. During this, there was some sort of altercation, the prosecution said. Brandon Scott Lavergne again signing off on these statements. They say that Mickey grabbed her cell phone, tried to call 911, at which point Brandon Lavergne threatened her with that knife. Mickey then grabbed her mace and sprayed Brandon Lavergne in the face with her mace. Mickey did try to fight him off. The prosecution made that very clear, that Mickey tried to fight Brandon Lavergne off, but again, he was armed with a knife and also a semi-automatic handgun. At which point Brandon Lavergne stabbed Mickey several times, at which point she was motionless in the passenger seat of Brandon Lavergne's pickup truck. At that point, the prosecution and Brandon Lavergne, again signing off on these statements, say that he drove with Mickey's motionless body to a cane field in North Acadia Parish. It's there where Brandon Lavergne told investigators he planned to dump Mickey's body. He was going to dump her body in a cane field there. But at that point, Mickey jumped up, the prosecution said. She jumped up and had regained control of that knife that Brandon Lavergne had and stabbed him several times. But unfortunately, and that's where it got very emotional in the courtroom, the prosecution and Lavergne say that he grabbed his semi-automatic handgun and shot Mickey once in the head, killing her there. At that point, it just got so emotional in that courtroom. The family and friends, they were crying. They had gasped for air at that point. And then the prosecution went through what Brandon Lavergne did after that point. But again, he did plead guilty to the murder of Mickey Shunick and also for Lisa Pate. Brandon, to kill Mickey Shunick. Anything you want to say to the Shunick family?
In handcuffs, Brandon Lavergne had nothing to say as he was led into the Lafayette Parish Courthouse. In court, graphic and grim details were revealed on both the Mickey Shunick and Lisa Pate cases. With the Shunick case, it started with that early morning and now fateful bike ride home. It's the last image of Mickey Shunick, 1:48 in the morning, May 19th, just after she crossed University Avenue onto St. Landry Street. Moments before this image was taken, Brandon Lavergne was on University Avenue. He was in Lafayette much of the night calling escort services. But when he saw Mickey cross University, he changed lanes and turned down St. Landry, following Mickey on her bicycle. He followed Mickey to the end of St. Landry, here between Dean Street and Coliseum Road, where he hit her. The impact threw her from her bicycle. Armed with a knife and a semi-automatic handgun, Lavergne was able to get Mickey into his truck. In the truck, Mickey tried to call 911, but Lavergne threatened her with the knife. Mickey pulled out her mace. Mickey was able to get Lavergne's knife, stabbing him several times, wounds that would later be called life-threatening, but Lavergne was able to get the knife back from Mickey, stabbing her at least 4 times. She fell over, seemingly lifeless. With Mickey still in the passenger seat, Lavergne then drove to a cane field in northern Acadia Parish, more than a half hour away, with the intent of dumping Mickey's body. But when he came to a stop, Mickey suddenly jumped up. Knife in hand, she lunged at Brandon Lavergne, stabbing him in the chest. But you'll remember Lavergne had a gun. He fired at once, hitting Mickey in the head, killing her instantly. Rather than dumping the body, Lavergne then drove to his home in St. Landry Parish with Mickey still in the passenger seat. Once home, he nursed his wounds, threw out his clothes, and cleaned out his truck. He then drove Mickey to that old cemetery up in Evangeline Parish, but because of wounds from the struggle with Mickey, he was not physically able to bury her body. Instead, he covered her with branches and debris. Before sunrise, Lavergne was on his way to New Orleans to visit a friend, dumping Mickey's bicycle in Whiskey Bay along the way. While in New Orleans, Lavergne was treated for his injuries at Ochsner Medical Center, and it's in New Orleans where Lavergne disposed of his gun and knife. The next day, Sunday, May 20th, Lavergne returned to that cemetery to bury Mickey's body. It's there where Mickey would remain for 80 days. The confession in the form of that plea deal was read out loud in a packed courtroom by lead prosecutor Keith Stutes. When the most grim details were revealed, there were cries and gasps by Mickey's family and friends. Brandon Lavergne swayed nervously, at times looking straight down.
Do you have anything to say to the Shunick family?
Lavergne again had nothing to say as he left court to serve out 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. He's now in Angola, where he'll spend the rest of his life. But on the other side of the courthouse, despite those heart-wrenching details, those closest to Mickey found some solace. An end to one kind of agony with answers. Peace in knowing Mickey is now home. And pride, knowing Mickey put up a fight right until the end.
She went down swinging with every little bit of energy she had left. And she'd have killed him if she could. The mighty Mick.
Today, thousands of pages of documents relating to the Mickey Shunick case were open to the public. We want to warn you, some of you may find the details disturbing.
In the thousands of pages of evidence released for the first time Monday, we learned how authorities first honed in on Brandon Lavergne, exactly how he covered his tracks, shocking details about relationships with his family, and evidence which ultimately led to his arrest. It was May 31st, 10 days after Mickey went missing. This photo of what was at the time a truck of interest, a Chevy Z71, was already released to the public. That day, police received a tip call from a Baton Rouge blogger whose sister-in-law was engaged to Lavergne. The tipster came forward because of concerns both he and his in-laws had with Lavergne. The tipster told police Lavergne owned a Chevy Z71 and had recent and obvious bodily injuries, Lavergne telling them he was injured in a stabbing in New Orleans the same day Shunick went missing. The man also told police that Lavergne threw out a bloody shirt behind his father-in-law's home after that supposed attack. While police investigated that tip, it was about 2 weeks later when they started to seriously focus on Lavergne. June 13th, documents show that same tipster called police again, saying Lavergne's truck now had a temporary plate. The next day, police got warrants for Lavergne's OnStar and cell phone records, but the bombshell was looking at insurance claims filed by Lavergne.
The investigation now took police to Texas, where Lavergne reported his truck stolen at the end of May. It was found burnt out 35 miles away from his sister's house where he was staying. Court records show his sister helped him cover his tracks. Here's what she told investigators. Lavergne told her he was involved in some sort of a stolen handguns case in Lafayette, and he needed to destroy the truck because it was evidence. If she helped him, he told her he'd forget about a debt she owed him of about $300. After following her brother, and once he found a discreet place to burn the truck, Lavergne ignited it, got into her car, and she drove him back home. At this time, Lavergne's sister is not facing any charges. Lavergne's sister was never in the truck, but reports she did see him get out with a table, cleaning supplies, and an object which she described as a sword-like knife thing. But her son, Lavergne's 12-year-old nephew, was also interviewed by police because he was in that truck. He told police he saw about 10 to 12 scratch marks on the seat and also a maroon tablecloth. The documents revealed through cell phone and OnStar records how police were able to pinpoint Lavergne's locations around the time Mickey went missing, from Lafayette, where he hit her, to Whiskey Bay, where he dumped her bicycle. Police building a strong case for several weeks until finally an arrest.
Lavergne is believed to be responsible for the disappearance of Mickey Shunick.
Lavergne was picked up July 5th by state police. His St. Landry Parish home was searched extensively. Among the evidence found there related to the case, a shovel, traces of blood in the bathroom, and a first aid kit missing all of its Band-Aids. When questioned by detectives, Lavergne initially denied knowing very much about the Mickey Shunick case, but that claim was disputed by something found in his possession when he was arrested. Police say in his truck at the time was an envelope with a phone number written on it. The phone number, a cell phone number for Mickey's mother, who posted her number everywhere in the initial days, hoping for some sign of her daughter. It turned out Brandon Lavergne was following the case very closely. A case, a story, and a woman who had and still has such a big impact in the community. In Lafayette, Jim Hummel, KTC TV3.
We begin tonight with a disclaimer leading into our top story. We know it's a story some will not want to watch, and we get that. Still, we think it's an important story to tell.
It's the confession from Mickey Shunick's killer, Brandon Lavergne. Mickey and her story captivated this community unlike anyone else in recent memory. And today, we were given what we hope is the final element of this tragedy.
And another warning tonight, many will find this report disturbing. Here's Aaron Stuber with the killer's confession.
You ready to do this?
On August 7th, police interviewed Brandon Scott Lavergne. That morning, Lavergne confessed to killing Mickey Shunick and led police to her body. Police using Google Maps had Lavergne point out the location.
We have a small community cemetery.
Lavergne details what happened the night he killed Mickey. He says he was playing with his phone when he claims he accidentally hit her on her bike. He didn't want to call police because he had been drinking, was a convicted felon, and had a gun in his truck. He said he and Mickey agreed not to call the cops. He told her he'd give her a ride home and says she got into his truck. But he became angry when she asked him to pay for the damage.
She reached down to grab the phone, and I panicked, and that's when I grabbed the knife, and I said, "Don't call the cops." I said, "I ain't playing with you," just to put down the phone. And she just kind of started, she was like staring at me, she was like, she made eye contact with me, she was just staring at me,
It was at that point when Mickey maced Lavergne, so he began stabbing her. She slumped over and he drove to a rural area to dispose of her body because he thought she was dead. Once again, this testimony will be considered disturbing to some.
She popped up and stabbed me dead in my chest, and I was like, I don't know if I was more freaked out about her stabbing or the fact that she was still alive. I hollered and I shot. I shot one time, with the gun, and I jumped out the truck and I was hollering, and I was like, I stood out there and stuff, and I was shaking and stuff. I started throwing up.
Lavergne continues, saying how unreal the entire situation was. After returning home to try to clean up everything, he says he walked in and out of the house, Mickey still in the truck.
That's when I finally put the gun in my head. I was like, man, so I'm just myself right here. And I was like, then I started thinking, like, man, so I got my son about to be born, and, you know, I got a daughter. Hopefully I'm seeing stuff, you know, in the future. Right now, I just can't do it. I wouldn't think about her. I wouldn't think about the family. I wouldn't think about myself.
A confessed killer and admittedly selfish.